Hi everyone, Shane R. Monroe here. This is probably the 25th Steam Deck OLED video you've clicked on today, so I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet by providing you 10 reasons you should consider upgrading from Steam Deck OG to the new Steam Deck OLED. Stick around. Number 1, the OLED screen. Duh.
Being that it's impossible to see visually on a video how much better the OLED screen looks over the OG one, if you have an OG Switch and have the OLED version, or at least have seen one, then you know what to expect. The ROG Ally snobs love to rub their sexy screen in your face, but now the deck can at least play ball. You're no longer limited to 60 Hz. The OLED can now do a comfy 90 Hz with a peak brightness of 1000 nits in HDR, 600 nits in SDR. 110% P3 color gamut and greater than 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio rounds off the features. Brighter colors, blacker blacks with striking contrast, brilliant clarity with amazing motion rendering. Well, it's a pretty damn good reason to upgrade.
Number 2, bigger battery with better battery life.
Battery life consists of two parts: the size of the battery and the amount of power being drawn from it. Valve is boasting an insane 30 to 50% more battery life, thanks to a bigger 50 watt-hour battery, upgraded from 40 watt-hour, the power reduction of the OLED screen, and the more efficient APU, we'll talk about that in a minute, contributes to the power savings. Digital Foundry reports that they went from 1 hour 32 minutes to a whopping 2 hours and 12 minutes on Cyberpunk 2077. Now imagine how long Hades will run.
Number 3, seriously better Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
Let's be honest, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are some of the weakest links in the OG Steam Deck. Both got major improvements this time. Wi-Fi is tri-band, 6E, and no longer shares the antenna with the Bluetooth radio, which is now up to version 5.3 over 5.0. Valve promises greater stability for Bluetooth controllers with a third antenna, and hold on to your hat, something you guys have been begging for, Wake on Bluetooth support. Now for some of you, that's worth the upgrade right away. Valve claims downloads are up to 3 times faster. Yeah, but I'll believe that when I see it.
Number 4, improved APU and memory bus.
The AMD APU has been cut down in size from 7 nanometers to 6 nanometers. Well, so what, right? This means it runs cooler and more efficiently. The memory is up to 6,400 megatransfers per second, which is up from 5,000, an astonishing 15% increase. Between the more efficient APU and faster memory, Digital Foundry says you can actually see a performance increase in many cases. Valve even says that this improves latency and power management. As more people get their hands on them, more benchmarks will come to light.
Number 5, runs cooler.
I've never had an issue with heat and thermals on the Steam Deck, but many complain about it. Thanks to the OLED technology, the improved efficiency APU, tweaks to thermal pipelines, the OLED deck will now be considerably cooler. And if that wasn't enough, a bigger, slower spinning fan was added to keep the heat down while not sounding like a plane taking off in your living room.
Number 6, easier to open and service.
The Steam Deck OG, let's be honest, was a pain to take apart, right? The screws would strip, the self-tapping screw holes were fragile, but never fear, Valve is taking care of us. No more crappy little Phillips screws. We now have reliable Torx head screws with metal threads to turn them into. This should make replacing the SSD or controllers a lot less like playing the lottery and a little more like an everyday task. Valve says internal components are now easier to access too. The deck could now be a modder's dream instead of a poor schmuck's nightmare.
Number 7, bigger screen.
This deserves a bullet point all its own. We covered the amazing screen upgrade already, but I didn't mention earlier that it is now 5.71% bigger at 7.4 inches over the OG 7 inches. Every little bit helps, am I right? You guys out there know what I'm talking about. I've always thought 8 inches would be a perfect size for the deck screen, but I'll take any sort of increment that gets us closer to that number with less bezel.
Number 8, improvements to touchscreen.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. The OG deck's touchscreen sucks. It's fine for basic utility tasks, but something like Nintendo DS emulation, Forget about it. It doesn't matter what kind of stylus you use. Valve has promised us 180 Hz refresh speed touchscreens on the OLED deck, but I couldn't find any specs on what the speed was before. But let's be fair, anything would be an improvement, and we probably won't know for sure how this impacts touchscreen gaming and emulation until the general public gets their hands on one.
Number 9, higher fidelity haptics.
Now, I'm not the only one out there that misses that quality rumble from our console controllers. While we're lucky enough to have any sort of haptics at all on the deck, there was plenty of room for improvement on the OG deck. Many games I play offer tells when you're being shot or attacked using rumble. Not having it strong enough gives you a competitive disadvantage. Like the touchscreen, we won't know more until we get one in hand, but again, I'll take any improvements we can to close the gap.
And number 10, all the rest.
If you spring for the 1TB edition, you get both a soft case liner as well as a case to put them in, giving you a means of throwing it in your backpack without the bulk of the whole case. A lot of people buy extra accessories for that very purpose. The deck always had incredible sound, but they have improved the bass response for an overall flatter sound profile, and those that have their hands on the new Steam decks are saying that the volume is actually louder than it was on the OG decks. The analog sticks have several improvements, including better top material and shape for increased grip, and the stick post material has been adjusted to improve the interaction feel and to reduce wear and tear. Those that hate the shoulder buttons but refuse to map them to the rear paddles like a good person should, you will be very happy to know they have improved the responsiveness and tactility of the shoulder button switch mechanisms. They have also re-engineered them and moved them to be easier to repair and replace. D-pad snap ratio and diagonal interactions have been adjusted. Trackpads have been redesigned for improved fidelity and edge detection. Battery chemistry has been improved to increase charging speed from 20% to 80% in as little as 45 minutes. The power supply included cable length has been increased a full meter from 1.5 meters to 2.5 meters. Thank you for listening, Valve. The deck OLED, despite all of its upgrades, is now 5% lighter. And according to all that have held the new decks, you can definitely tell. Finally, last but not least, the resume time wake up has been improved by roughly 30%. Huzzah!
Hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll have many more videos of the Steam Deck OLED as soon as I can lay my hands on one. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell, yada, yada, yada. You know what to do.